Well, here to do the summary of the lesson today. And it's dealing with the mediator of a new covenant. As we know, we went over in that class, and I'm doing the summary, so I ain't gonna reteach the lesson, right? But in the lesson today, coming from Hebrews, I wrote down some definitions, and one of the definitions I wrote down was bitterness. And bitterness, it says, when you feel bitter or have bitterness, is angry or unhappy or disappointed because of some unfair treatment. So let's keep that in mind. And then we have mediator, is one that mediates between parties at variance. It says occupying a middle position. Okay, so we know that in last week's lesson we were dealing with the covenant, right? The promise of the new covenant, and we was talking about the new covenant, and I'm just gonna briefly say something about the new covenant that we had in our lesson. It said that in our lesson it says that part of the new covenant was that we have a new life in Christ. Okay? And part of that new life is that God sends us a spirit, his Holy Spirit, right? And then, not only that, the new covenant also give us an abiding relationship with God. That means he said he will have an abiding relationship with us, right? And it says that he will put his word or his spirit, he will put his word in our heart. You know, the law was written down, but he said, I'm going to put it in your heart so you can have it with you, so it won't have to be written down. And that's the new covenant. Those things there are part of the new covenant. The spirit, putting the word, putting in our heart, and we having a new life. You know, as Christians, we are supposed to be born again. Born again means we're supposed to turn away from doing the things that we used to do, and we do new things. And that's part of the new covenant that he has with us. We tell God that the things that I used to do, I'm not going to do no more. I'm going to follow you. And God said, if you do this, he said, I'm going to put my spirit in you. And he said, I'm going to abide with you. And I'm going to put my word in your heart so you will have the strength to be able to do what I need you to do. Whatever it is, right? And that is part of the new covenant. And in the new lesson today, we have coming out of Hebrews, the 12th chapter. If you read the beginning of the chapter, it said God discipline proves his love. So it talks about how a good father always chastens his child. And if he don't chasten him, he don't love him. All right, Doctor. So God, he does chastise us because he loves us. And then when we get down to the 14th verse, it got another topic that divides that chapter up. It says it's a call to listen to God. So when we started at that 14th verse, right up there it says a call to listen to God. And as we get into this lesson, it says that I'm just going to throw out some highlights, right? Now, we understand a mediator is someone who stands in the middle. And in this case, it is Jesus who stands between me and God. But Jesus say, all these things that I've done and I do, you do. So we also are mediators for one for another, you know. And keep that in mind too, right? And it says to bring, a mediator is to bring together. A mediator brings something together. Yeah. So Jesus was the mediator that bring us to God, to bring us closer to God, right? A mediator has to be fair and just. A mediator has to do things in love and truth. And a mediator has to be right, righteous. You know, so anybody just can't be a mediator. And if you're going to be a mediator, you have to stand by some kind of guidelines, see? And so God laid down who his mediator was going to be. And Jesus showed us that he is the mediator. And he showed us if we're going to play the role of a mediator, how we should act in ourselves, right? And as we go down to the first verse, in this thing, it says that it says working and living with peace and everyone working and living a holy life. It's saying that we should, as mediators, we should, and as children of God, you know, people look at us. And guess what? We the only God somebody ever gonna see.
Watch yourself now.
You got that? In that first verse, it tells us that it say, follow peace with all men and holiness, without which no man shall see the Lord. Right? So we should walk in holiness, and it tells us that we should walk in holiness for a reason. And I asked myself, why should we walk in holiness? And just like I said, we should walk in holiness because we might be the only Bible that people see.
All right, Doctor.
If we at school, we at work, we in church, and we just abroad, we should always walk in what? We should always walk in holiness. The scripture wants us to walk in holiness. Because if we say we are Christians and we believe in God and we accepted Jesus and we're walking in work, cussing, raising hell at school, talking about people and doing things that's not like God, right? Then we're not walking in holiness. So we should, as Christians, and it says in this 14th verse here in Hebrews that we should walk in holiness. Because, like I said, we might be, you might be, I might be the only way somebody see God. Because a lot of people, they don't come to church and hear the word. A lot of people don't read their Bible. But if they see you acting a certain way, they'll say, wow. They'll be curious. They might want to ask you, what you do so different, man? You different than everybody else. What you got that they ain't got? Why you don't act like everybody else act? You know, you be sitting in class or you be at work, you may anywhere. And you're not acting like the other people because you're not supposed to act like the other people. Because we're supposed to be set apart. That's why we're supposed to walk in holiness. And then when people ask us that, we should be able to have an answer for them.
All right, Doc.
Right? He said, I don't act like the rest of them because I'm set apart. I'm a new creature. I used to have a daddy when I used to cut up, but now I got a new daddy. And since I got a new daddy, I don't do those things no more. Because sometimes you was indulging in some of them things that they was doing. You were getting drunk, raising sin, just like they were raising sin. But then they seen a change. That's what's supposed to happen.
Yes, sir.
And that's all a part of us walking in what? Walking in holiness, right? And if you read that next verse, it says, we are not come unto the mount that might be touched and that might burn with fire, nor unto blackness and darkness. No, that ain't the right, excuse me. Look diligently, lest any man fail of grace or good of God, lest any root of bitterness bring up trouble you, and thereby many be defiled. Okay, now this word, remember bitterness, remember the definition, right? Okay, we're supposed to guard against bitterness. That means we guard against bitterness. It's kind of like standing up for what's good and forbidding what's evil. In our homes, at school, at work, and even in the church today, we don't let bitterness take root. You know, if you ever cut grass and you got some of that grass and weed killer, you have to cut the grass down and then put it down, and then it'll kill the root. It'll get in the root and kill the root, right? So what we do is don't let the bitterness get in the root. If you see somebody in church, man, your brothers and sisters, we all children of heaven, right? And you see they have some bitterness in their heart against somebody, and they come to you with some foolishness. Oh, sister so-and-so this, and sister so-and-so that. And then instead of you feeding into it, you stop it. You stop it right there. Whatever problem you got with her, come on, let's go in over here and let's talk to her. Let's go talk to her together. Since y'all got a problem, because we're not going to have this in here. That's in your home, at work, wherever you at. You got a problem with somebody, we're going to squash this bitter because we're supposed to be walking in love. Because we're supposed to be, like the church verse said, right? Walking with holiness. We cannot walk in holiness when we have bitterness inside of us. So we're going to have to keep that bitterness out. Because they say when that bitterness take root, then that bitterness, it'll spread. Now I'm talking about her to you, and then you going to talk about it, and then everybody in the church talking about her. And it might be a lie, or it might just be a misunderstanding.
Fix it, doctor.
So let's not walk in bitterness. That's what the scripture trying to tell us there. Don't let that bitterness take root and destroy your relationship with God and destroy your relationship with each other. Because we're supposed to walk in holiness and love for one another, right? Yeah. So we are supposed to guard against these things. And if we go down, we're gonna do like verse 18 through 21 in our little lesson summary. It says fearful encounters. That's what they give us for the topic. But as we read that, some highlights from that would be 18 says, "For you are not come unto the mount that might be touched and that burn with fire, nor to dark blackness and tempest, and the sound of trumpets and the voice of words, which voice they heard, entreated the words should not be spoken to them anymore. For they could not endure that which was commanded, and if so much as the bee touch the mount, it shall be stoned or thrust through with a dart. And so terrible was the sight that Moses said, I exceeded fear and quake." Moses said he feared and quake, and he was trembling, right? So when God showed his presence, see, this was in our same part, was in our previous lesson. And they trying to let us, this part of the old covenant and what they did in the old covenant. So for those who didn't hear it last time, they telling you again. See, the Bible always repeats itself. Because the Lord said, upon 2 or 3 witnesses, my word is true. So we had a witness then and we got a witness now. And see, they came here with all this thunder and lightning and all these trumpets and stuff was blowing, and you know, and the people went before God, and when they went before God, they was afraid. They were afraid because they were going before God. And you know why they were afraid? Because God was talking to them and God was speaking to them. He was giving God in the letter. He said God spoke to him. And God was speaking to him and was letting him know, hey, your sins, you're sinning and you're turning against me. And he gave them his commandments. And when they found out that his commandments, what he had told them, what they wasn't supposed to be doing, they were shamed and they were frightened. God came to us personally and gave us his word. And he gave us what he wanted us to do. And we found out that we weren't doing what we were supposed to do. So now we scared and we shameful because why is he telling us this? He finna beat our, he finna chastise us. He finna get us. You know what I'm saying? Just like mama call you and say, like, boy, didn't I tell you to wash them this and take that trash out? And then you know you looking to get slapped, right, or something. That's the same thing God was doing to the children of Israel when he was talking to them. Now see, this is my law. And y'all knew this, y'all forefather knew, everybody knew my law. And y'all doing this anyway. And they were scared. And they were like, Lord. But see, and then God said, you know, I'm going to give you an example of this bitterness thing too. It was a woman in the Bible, she committed adultery, right? And when she committed adultery in the Bible, they brought the woman before Jesus and said, yeah, this woman right here, she committed adultery, let's kill her. You know? But then, say, if they wouldn't have went ahead and killed the woman. If they'd have went to kill the woman and then it was a man that with her, they got caught in the act. If you got caught in the act, then the man must have been there too. So why you just bring the woman? And so now they would have killed this woman, and then all the women in the church were like, it's favoritism. What's going on? Why they didn't kill him and they killed division? It's taking root. Can't let it take root. That's what they let it did, you know. And, you know, our sins, man, it keep us from God. And see, God was so angry at the children of Israel for violating law, worshiping all these different gods with the Moabite. God said, man, I got to go to these people personally. He said, I'm going to speak to them personally. Because he wanted to get their attention. He wanted to get their attention. He wants our attention today. He wants us to walk in holiness. That's what he's trying to let us know in this lesson, right? So we should be ready and always walking in obedience and in holiness, right? And then we won't have to be ashamed. We won't have to be afraid. And we won't have to be scared. Because we doing what's right. You think mama gonna beat you or chastise you because you're doing wrong? No. She chastised you and beat you because you do what's wrong. So if we do right, we don't have to worry about God beating us and chastising us, right?
Amen.
Okay. So as we go down to we doing the 22nd and 23rd. These just brief summary, you know. But we go 22nd and 23rd. It said, but ye are come unto the Mount Zion, unto the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem, and to an innumerable company of angels, and the general assembly, and the church of the firstborn, which are written in heaven, and to God, the judge of all, and to the spirit of just men made perfect, and to Jesus, the mediator of the new covenant, and to the blood of the sprinkling that speak better things than that of Abel. Okay. And there right there is letting us know that we have another mediator, and the mediator is going to be Christ, right? And it's saying that through Christ, the imperfect man, that's us when we was in sin, we being able to be drawn to God, right? Drawn near to a holy God. And like I said, in the new covenant, it's just repeating that we can draw near to God. You know, God set boundaries for the children of Israel at the foot of that mountain. He said, hey, do not come past this boundary, because if you come past it, you're going to get killed. But now that because of Jesus and because we are covered,
yes, sir,
then we can approach that mountain without not worrying about getting killed.
Yes, sir.
We can come to that mountain now. And we can have a personal relationship with God because of this new covenant and because of the mediator that God gave us, which is Jesus, right? So we don't have to be afraid of that anymore, right? We don't have to be afraid. He said not only for the human and mankind, he said for the beast too. You know, it was said that everything on earth plays their role in nature. The animals do what they supposed to do. Everything do what they supposed to do, but man. We the only thing that don't do what we supposed to do. But God gave us free will to make the choice. So we have to choose. Either we're going to do right or we're going to do wrong. But God is calling us into his kingdom, and he calling in his kingdom to do that which is right? With this new mediator that he gave us. Okay, so verse 24, it says that Jesus, the mediator of the new covenant, and to the blood of the sprinkling that speaketh better things than that of Abel. You know, Abel was the one who killed Cain, his brother. And when he killed Cain, the blood of Cain, Cain killed Abel. Yeah, that one, yeah. Cain killed Abel, and Abel's blood cried from the ground. And when Abel's blood cried from the ground, you know, we don't have to worry about nobody killing us and our blood crying from the ground, because it was one sacrifice that came, and that was our mediator. And that mediator who came, that was a blood that covered us from now on.
Yes, sir. Right?
Amen.
We can live in confidence. And we can live in confidence that we are forgiven. We are forgiven. See, Cain, he wasn't forgiven. He was banished. Mm-hmm. He was banished. But we are forgiven.
Yes, sir.
And we are adopted, and we are accepted into the kingdom.
My Lord.
And it's telling we don't want to be like, we want to be like that. We want to be accepted into God's kingdom, right? And we want to be what? Bought at peace. Jesus bought us at peace with God, because we were fighting against God. The children of Israel, they were fighting against God. They wanted to serve other gods. They wanted to do all the things that they wanted to do. They didn't want to just serve God. Everybody else had a bunch of gods and different gods, so they say, we want to do the same thing.
Yes, sir.
But God said, no, that ain't the way it go. So so Jesus said, he brought us here, and he said, come on now, we're gonna make amends. Y'all know y'all doing wrong. We're gonna pull y'all out the mud, pull y'all out the clay. Moses said, we're gonna bring you to this mountain and let God talk to you and let you know what's going on. But see, now he said he sent Jesus, the mediator. See, a mediator say, when we in trouble and we don't know what to pray for, and we in trouble and we don't know what to do, right? Jesus will be up there saying, Lord, I see my brother down there and he's struggling with alcoholism. Or he's struggling with paying his bills or something. And Jesus say, well, Daddy, hey, look here. I think we need to send a blessing his way. He mediating for us. And we can do that for each other. Can I use you for an example? See, Sister Matlock, she was having problems. And she was able to come to the prayer warriors of the church and say, hey, my family having problems. Can y'all pray? And then we being mediators to help each other. You know, if we see somebody in our church, you know, who's struggling with alcoholism, drug addiction, or whatever it may be, if you see them struggling with these things, guess what we supposed to do? We supposed to mediate for each other. We supposed to go, you ain't got to even say nothing to them. You can just go to your private club and say, Lord, I see he needs you. And I don't know who else praying for him. And I don't know if he even want help, but Lord, I want you to help him. And I tell you what, the prayers of the righteous avail much. We got to be mediators for each other, you know. And like I said, we got an ultimate, and while we praying for that brother, Jesus up there saying, yeah, Daddy, see, hey, we got another brother want help on too, Daddy. So guess what, Daddy, come on, Daddy, go and do it for him. Bring him out of drug addiction, bring him out of alcohol, bring him out whatever he needs, bring it out of it, bless him with whatever he needs. That's the purpose of our mediator, to help us be safe on this earth, right? So we need to be a mediator for one another, right? And then in this last little few verses, it says that 25 through 29, seek ye, refuse not him that speaketh, for if they escape not who refuse him that spake on earth, much more shall we escape if we turn away from him that speaketh from heaven, whose voice then shook the earth, but not now too has promised, saying, yet once more I shake not the earth only, but also heaven. And this word yet once more signifies the removing of something that are shaken, as of the things that are made, that those things which cannot be shaken may remain. Wherefore, we receiving the kingdom which cannot be moved, let us have grace whereby we serve God, acceptable with reverence and godly fear, for God is a consuming fire. Okay. Now in these little verses here, it's trying to let us know that we should accept Jesus, and that we should accept that gospel of Jesus, right? And we should choose salvation in the gospel of Jesus instead of choosing judgment. We should always try to choose grace, right? God, he wants to shake us in this new kingdom. In the new kingdom, what he mean by shake us, man, he wants to grab us and turn us upside down and throw us around a little bit so we can get right. Because some of these things that we're doing, we know not of God, and we know we ain't supposed to be doing. So God, how you going to shake us? He sent his word. He sent his messages. He sent his teachers to give us that word. And that word is what shake you. All right, doctor. Because once they heard that word, they were shaking, and they were afraid, and they were scared, and they heard the word and they say, Lord, they were saved. They said, we did wrong, Lord. And they step back and they look and they say, whoa, Lord, did I do that? Yeah, you did it. And they thought God was going to get them. He shook them. And that's how he do us today. He going to shake us to get us our attention. Amen. He shake us to get our attention. Look here. Say it again, whatever you're doing, come out of it. Yes, sir. Whatever wrong, let's not do it no more. He want to shake us up so we'll be able to do like that first say, walk in holiness. Mm-hmm. We'll be able to walk in holiness. Because when people see us serving God and blessing God, it's a blessing to us, and it's also a blessing to God, and it's a blessing to them because it goes in a circle. Yeah. I tell you, when I had my brain surgery and I was at the doctor and I was testifying, praising God, and I knew I ain't had no problem. I ain't had no doubt. I knew I was gonna be all right. You know, and I left the hospital and everything. And even today, I left the hospital, and I'm talking about 3 months later, my brother came to church, Streeter. And Brother Streeter said, you know what? He said, man, I went to the hospital and this lady was testifying and telling me about somebody who had brain surgery, who fell off a lawnmower and stuff, and was telling how God good was to him and all this stuff, was giving my testimony to Streeter. And Streeter was like, I know him. And he came back to church and told me, yeah, a nurse up there, I can't think of her name, but she was talking about you, but she didn't even know I knowed you. So you never know who will be affected by your holiness. Amen. By you doing what's right. And by you testifying and praising and worshiping God, you never know who will be affected by it. You can be dead and gone. That old sign say, let the works that I do speak for me. Mm-hmm. And that's how we should live. Let my works speak for me. You might not got nothing good to say about me. And everybody else might talk about me. But that's fine. Mm-hmm. But I know my works. All right, Doctor. Let my works speak for me. And that's what we should do, right? And that's under the new covenant. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be holy children of God. Amen? Amen. We turn it over to Brother Black. Amen. Yes, sir. Oh. I'm going to say right here. I got it right here.